These guys are crazy, bro.
It's nice, but creepy. I want to turn around and get out fast.
They probably didn't make it out, bro.
Of course they did. They posted the bloody video.
So Opus Dei, founded by Jose Maria Escriva in 1928, and the rumor on the street is that Opus Dei actually bailed out the Vatican Bank for $250 million in 1985. Apparently, the Vatican Bank has had a lot of history of dealings with the Italian mafia financiers. It's been alleged that Opus Dei was founded basically as a form of Christian masonry with aims to covertly dominate the world. Other controversies include, get ready for these: mortification of the flesh, sexual abuse, recruitment of teenagers, elitism, misogyny, cult-like recruiting practices, high control of members in isolation, secrecy, being a Catholic version of Freemasonry, having too much independence from the Catholic Church, illicit use of psychiatric drugs in its central headquarters, and supporting the authoritarian or right-wing governments. Mortification of the flesh, according to Opus Dei, includes three main forms. One is sleeping on planks instead of a mattress if you are a childless woman, wearing circular chain silices with dull points around the thighs that cause pain but no bleeding for 2 hours a day, and self-flagellating while praying once a day.
Kanske så. Ogelooflijk.
Remember, this is for entertainment purposes only.
Opus Dei has one goal: to bring about a theocratic world order. Not through prayers, but through policy. One of their hubs? The Catholic Information Center in Washington, D.C., just a stone's throw away from the White House. That's where Leonard Leo spent years growing his network. That's where Supreme Court justices were groomed. That's where seeds of Project 2025 were planted. And who supports it? Clerics tied to Opus Dei, lawyers, judges, donors, all united by a vision of Christian dominion. Justice Scalia, a regular at the Catholic Information Center. So was Bill Barr. Mike Pence even orbited in that circle. It's not a conspiracy, it's a real-world strategy. They fund legal fellowships, they train clerks, they run high-level seminars for judges, all while preaching religious liberty. But their version of liberty means rolling back your rights. They're building something. Slowly, carefully. Not with ballots, but with judges. Not with transparency, but with think tanks, donor networks, and closed-door influence. This is not just religion, this is political warfare, cloaked in holiness.
They want world domination, bro.
You say that about everyone.
Next on the list is St. Hill Manor, the home of Scientology.
The religion was built by a guy called L. Ron Hubbard, who previously wrote sci-fi. Just to be super clear, they are a religion and not a cult. And apparently the rumor is that they know exactly who you are before you even get to the gate. So if they are watching, then please like and subscribe. Scientology has some super famous members like Tom Cruise, Grant Cardone, and John Travolta, who famously tried booking a table at the local KFC here. I'm genuinely fascinated by Scientology. I visited the headquarters in LA too. They're notoriously unfriendly to YouTubers, so we're gonna leave it there. No poking of the bear. We're just showing you where they are and how it works. It's a place where Tom Cruise himself apparently isolated during lockdown. So interestingly, there is a brawl going on in East Grinstead at the moment between Scientology and an ex-member. He claims that Scientology has its hands all in the local council, whereas Scientology claims that this guy was kicked out for stalking. But it's interesting read.
They're gonna take him out, bro.
Come on, mate, I doubt it.
It uses a procedure called fair game, which is to say that if you're opposed to Scientology, you do not deserve to live, and everything can and may be done to silence you. I was harassed on a daily basis for 16 years after I left Scientology and spoke out. There's a process called noisy investigation. It's written up in Scientology and approved by Ron Hubbard. And what a Scientology agent will do is they'll get a list of everybody you know, including your doctor, your dentist, your travel agent, whoever, your friends, your family. They will then contact every person on the list, whether directly or on the phone, and say, we're gathering information about John Atack or whoever, and their criminal background. We found out some really interesting things already. I had this done to me, and my mother-in-law, one of my brothers-in-law, decided to talk to the private detective who'd been sent over from Los Angeles. He travelled as far as Australia to find people who'd known me. It was put about that I was a recovered heroin addict. I'd never taken heroin in my life. I was a rapist. I'd attempted murder. I'd murdered children. These are standard stories that are told about critics of Scientology. They're made up. I was told when the head of their harassment division in the UK defected after a conversation with me, and she told me that they'd spent £2 million harassing me up until that point. It was incredibly destructive. It took me 17 years to recover my physical health. All through litigation. They sued me in America, they sued me here, and through legal costs I was bankrupted. My marriage fell apart, my health came apart. It took me about 17 years to get back to a place where I could stand up again.
Makes you wonder why people get involved with them in the first place.
They don't know what they're getting into, bro.
At this point, everyone knows about the Galactic Lord Xenu in Scientology.
The evil Lord Xenu.
But there was once a point in time that for decades, the Galactic Lord Xenu's existence was the greatest secret in all of Scientology. So seeing former Scientologists relive the moment that they learned about the Galactic Lord Xenu is something else. The crazy thing is they all saw it for what it was. They knew it was ridiculous. But they had all painted themselves into a corner to the point that they had to believe it. It couldn't all be for nothing. And even though they're laughing and their reactions are humorous, it's important to remember that they had already lost years of their lives just to get to that point, and it would be even more years before they were able to let go of everything and leave the Church of Scientology. Check this out.
Well, what does a Scientologist believe? You need to be in Scientology for 7 or 8 years and in for a couple $100,000 before you finally learn this backstory of Xenu the Galactic Overlord. Now, if you were told that on day one, how many people would join?
You hear these stories people tell of these abilities they've been able to gain.
Could read your mind and they could move objects at will, and they could, they were cause over matter, energy, space, and time.
And they give me the secret materials, which I've been carrying about all this time. They're handwritten by Hubbard. And I read it. It doesn't make any sense.
This gobbled story that didn't make sense.
Or I think, remember, for one fleeting second, thinking, well, maybe it's an insanity test. Maybe if you believe this, they kick you out. Maybe that's it. This guy, space guy.
Galactic Overlord, this was the prison planet, and people being captured and being brought to planet Earth.
What? What are you talking about? I'm down for the self-help stuff, and, I can get rid of the negative emotions, but what the f is this?
Yeah, what the fuck's he on about?
Scientology's crazy, bro.
The Scientologists believe that 75 million years ago, this section of the galaxy was overpopulated. So the evil Lord Xenu rounded up billions of the alien species, brought them all to Earth, dumped them in the volcanoes in Hawaii. Their spirits then went floating up into the atmosphere, and these days those confused spirits attach themselves to us. They're called body thetans, and that's where a lot of our negativity comes from. L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of Scientology, wrote most of his stories here, and now it's a major pilgrimage spot for Scientologists all over the world, including the celebrities. Tom Cruise spent lockdown 1 here. He also bought a house for about £4 million nearby, which he has now since sold to Peter Andre. Peter Andre has nothing to do with Scientology. I told you East Grinstead was weird. It gets weirder.
How can it get weirder?
Come on, bro. We're only just getting started.
And next we head into the Ashdown Forest, home of Winnie the Pooh and other bear people.
This is where it's said that the druids and the pagans and the Satanists come and do whatever it is they do on an evening. And I know what you're all thinking. Out of everything going on in East Grinstead, this is probably where the fun is.
Deep in these woods, the stories are that there are rituals taking place. There are drums banging, there's Satanist symbols in trees, sometimes even complete nudity, people dancing in circles. Can't see anything today, but if you can imagine at night time sometimes, shit goes down here. Though it's obviously the middle of the day, there's nothing going on right now, but cameraman Harry has offered to get his kit off and dance around a bonfire, so let's do this. I had a message last night from someone saying there's secret ayahuasca rituals in the forest around Forest Row.
I've not heard about it, but that would not surprise me.
There's stories of rituals in most forests.
People go missing in this one, bro.
Ashdown Forest, the sprawling heathland and woodlands in East Sussex, is not only the inspiration for A.A. Milne's Winnie the Pooh, but it also harbors a darker side. The forest is said to be haunted by the ghost of a man who mysteriously disappeared during a camping trip years ago. According to the legend, he ventured into the forest on a fateful night and vanished without a trace. His restless spirit is believed to wander the same paths he once walked, calling out for help. Many visitors who walk through Ashdown after dark claim to hear the sounds of footsteps trailing behind them or distant voices calling their names. Ashdown Forest remains one of the more eerie locations in England, where the line between the living and the dead seems thinner than anywhere else.
If people kept going missing, the police would do something about it.
Nah, bro, it's an independent state. They've got their own government.
For the first 1999 years of history, Ashurst Wood in East Sussex was just an ordinary English country village. But then there was a meeting, and the People's Republic of Ashurst Wood, a nation state, or prawn for short, was declared.
At the risk of cracking a very bad joke, they don't all think you're prawn crackers there.
Oh, they do, and we are. In fact, it's a prerequisite that we are crackers. Mad and bonkers, and that's great. It's the norm in Ashurst.
Now there are border checks to make sure no one enters or leaves the village without the correct paperwork, a Ministry of Propaganda which doubles as the post office where you can buy your prawn passport, and there are 2 ministries for mental health, which seem among the most popular places to visit.
We have had to admit a lot of people into the Ministry of Mental Health because a lot of the local prawns have gone crackers.
I've been away over Christmas and I've come back and I haven't got a clue what's going on, and I think they're all gone balmy. All in all, I was quite impressed with the new republic and was all set to sign up as a citizen. But unfortunately, apparently I've already broken at least 6 of the new rules of the Constitution. So as you can probably see, I'm now being deported. Everybody can say you fraud.
They're a bunch of fucking nutters.
It's a psyop, bro. They want people to think they're nuts, so no one believes the crazy stories.
I know you're asking, why is a town with a Wetherspoons that looks like a strip club such a hotbed for all of these obscure groups?
One theory is East Grinstead sits on the prime meridian, the meridian line which separates the Western Hemisphere from the Eastern Hemisphere. I'm walking straight along it now, so half of me is in the east, the other half of me is in the west, but lots of other places in the world sit on the prime meridian. But East Grinstead also has these things underneath it called ley lines. I don't really know what ley lines are. So you combine the meridian line with the ley lines that run underneath the ground here, and that could be why so many groups have gathered here. I don't know though, that's just a theory.
I'm not sure about ley lines.
Trust me, bro, some people can see them.
I'm with Joe and Mum here, who have a very unique ability, so they can see ley lines.
So ley lines to me are yellow. It's like yellow little lightning strikes in the air, telling me which direction it's going in and how fast. And it goes literally from the ground right the way up to the sky. So there's earth lines and ley lines. Ley lines are man-made. The Stone Age man wanted to trade between different tribes, so they moved magnetic stones into a line.
So this is fascinating. So you could also have this, you could see dead people, you could see these energy lines and everything else.
Yeah.
But you chose not to indulge in it.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I just got frightened because I was seeing dead people. I didn't realise what they were, but they were not normal. And I just thought it was me sort of conjuring them up.
So how do you turn that off then?
Turned my back and said, go away, I don't want anything more to do with any of you. And, you know, they left me.
So the ley line comes through from in front of the church, goes through here, goes through this hedge, and the earth line comes from that way and comes through here.
And you're seeing both right now?
Yeah.
And
So this one's yellow. At the moment it's going very slowly that way, but soon it will swap round.
Whereabouts, like here? Is it big? Is it thick? Is it?
It's about, ley line's very big.
Right.
Earth line's a bit narrower.
So you're right in the middle of it? Right?
Yeah.
Leave it up, mate.
Trust me, bro, they're legit.
Did you know that all ancient sites are connected with one another? What about ley lines? The ley lines are energetic, magnetic, spiritual, and very powerful, and they run all over the earth. And by doing so, they weirdly enough connect a lot of ancient sites with one another. They were rediscovered again in 1846. Reverend Edward Duke noted that ancient sacred sites align with prehistoric monuments as well as churches. Now we know it's common practice that churches are built on something older, so whether or not the people in the Middle Ages were aware of the ley lines is up for debate. And we do use ancient lines like longitude and latitude, which were developed by the ancient Greeks. Or way earlier than that, since most of the Greek knowledge comes from the Babylonians and Egyptians and Sumerians, and they say that they got the knowledge from the gods. So where does that leave us? Nowadays, we rediscovered that sacred geometry can be found everywhere in nature. So is it that outrageous to say that there's a sacred geometrical pattern that goes across our entire planet? So to me, the question more so becomes, why did the ancients do it?
Yeah, let us know in the comments what subject you guys want to see us do next.
The Steiner schools are about freedom and individual destiny in life.
Yeah, no, it's just like an alternative learning, which I think is pretty cool in some ways. Like, I think kids need to be doing more outdoorsy learning and all that kind of stuff.
Is dancing quite a big part?
You're in. Yeah, I think it'd be really good. It's like, when you do your GCSEs, English and whatever.
Jongen.
Dancing thing, and I'm pretty sure it is a GCSE. Dancing, making wind movement through the body, I think.
They do this rhythmic performance and they tell the story, and the 9-year-olds are like, they're the river, or they're the trees, or the older pupils are the actual protagonists, the characters, and it's a blend of dance and acting and drama they do. Is as good as something you could see in the West End.
So we're a couple of streets away now. You can see there, it's just normal British houses. You come into this road, and all the houses here are Steiner-inspired ones. They look like futuristic, like cyberpunk. The roofs are made of copper.
Yeah, copper roofs. So you see them when they have to get the roofs redone, they'll be like really shiny, not a colour copper, like gold bronzy.
Used to stop blazing, right?
For fuck's sake, come on, Ted. The scores didn't sound that bad.
Nah, bro. Steiner was fucked up.
So the man, Steiner, basically developed Waldorf education back when he was alive in the early 1900s to educate the children of workers in the Waldorf cigarette factory, and kind of just got free rein to develop this curriculum. He felt that he was a clairvoyant and had this way of interacting with these other realms, and believed in basically like a racial hierarchy in a different way than, for example, the Nazis believed in a racial hierarchy, but not that different, not different enough. He thought humans went through different levels of spiritual evolution, and that some races were effectively left over from the previous evolution of humanity. And if we wanted to move on to the next version of humanity, there needed to be this like purity retained within the Aryan race. Yikes.
Well, that really not.
Next, it's home to the Rosicrucians, who were in Sphinxid and have since moved 20 minutes away.
They mix Bible verses, Egyptian magic, psychic powers, and out-of-body travel. The person who founded it is rumoured to not even exist, and nobody from the outside ever gets a look in.
Well, I think the Rosicrucians are fascinating.
The Rosicrucian Order are said to guard and study secrets around physics, the universe, and our psychology, and even healing. They've learned from the teachings of Solon, Pythagoras, and the ancient Egyptians, amongst many others. Now, this is quite interesting because Plato told us that Solon went and learned off the ancient Egyptian priests about Atlantis. Obviously, Atlantis did things differently with how they generated energy and moved around and healed and things like that. So if this mob behind me know anything about any of that, it would be nice if they shared it with the rest of us.
These guys sound interesting.
Have you ever wondered why we exist? A secret society called the Rosicrucians claim to have the answer in something called the Great Chain of Being. our souls are on an eternal journey, evolving and growing through countless lives. But it's not just about changing bodies, it's about progression, evolution. Since energy can't be destroyed, only transformed, our soul's essence continues towards a goal. See, the great chain of being says that everything in the universe is organized into a hierarchy. It goes like this. At the bottom you have matter, then plants, then animals, then humans, and finally divine beings. According to the Rosicrucians, each level has its own level of consciousness and spirit. So the journey of the human soul isn't just about experiencing different lives, but also about climbing up the chain. So what's the end goal of this journey? It's not just rebirth, it's evolution towards perfection, becoming divine.
That's an interesting concept.
They're a threat to the Vatican, right?
The core of the Rosicrucian tradition, this is why it was not accepted by the Catholic Church and things like this. The core of it was that you don't go through any external human being or physical institution to connect to spirit. You connect to spirit directly of your own energy column. You connect to higher worlds, higher beings, spiritual inspiration. You don't have to go through an intermediary.
Hard to make money if you don't have an intermediary.
Exactly. Catholic Church didn't appreciate that at all. Yep. I was taking away their power. And again, one reason that this Rosicrucian reformulation of the Grail tradition happened around this time was the beginning of the Protestant Reformation. There are people saying we want to still have an understanding of the Christ impulse, but we don't want to be stuck in this authoritarian control structure that the Catholic Church has created. So around that time, the Rosicrucians come out.
If we're not in a simulation, it sounds like a religion I could get behind.
We're not in a simulation, bro. I told you, they're Masonic.
In our modern day and age, there has been close associations between the Rosicrucian order and the Masonic fraternity. And in fact, within the Masonic fraternity itself, there are groups referring to themselves as Rosicrucian, which are, they're invitational to Masons that are seeking to do further research. Some of the main teachings that were found within the Rosicrucian tradition included the study of alchemy and Kabbalah and mystical Christianity. The Rosicrucians believed that they could actually create certain elixirs which could heal the body, stimulate consciousness. They were supposed to heal people free of charge. If they were making gold, which they considered a talent of lesser importance, that money should go towards the poor and towards reimbursing themselves for their equipment that they needed in order to do the operation.
These guys sound cool.
And next we head down the road to New Chapel to see a very impressive Mormon temple.
It marries couples for all eternity and baptizes the dead. Since 1958, apparently only 2 outsiders have ever been allowed inside. With my wife for about 3 or 4 years, and as much as I love her, I can't imagine spending eternity.
The secret names and mystical tokens of the Mormon Melchizedek priesthood are demonstrated by the patron to the worker representing the Lord behind the veil. Present her at the veil, and her request shall be granted. What is that?
The first token of the Aaronic priesthood.
Has it a name?
It has.
The people that go through these ceremonies, either for themselves or standing in for the dead, experience a tremendous sense of power. Those who have successfully remembered the combination of secret names and handshakes feel responsible for having provided eternal salvation to themselves and the dead whom they represent. Salvation through Jesus Christ is considered by Temple Mormons to be totally insufficient in attaining that personal salvation or godhood.
Where did I know that from?
Mormon temples are one of the most cult-like places on earth, not just in terms of their secretive ritual. Back in 1990, the church decided to revamp its temple ceremonies, partially eliminating some of the more gruesome aspects, like throats disempaling and tearing at them by the roots. But here's the kicker. Those horrific rituals didn't completely vanish. The vestiges of those barbaric rites are still there, lingering beneath the surface. You know, when I went through the temple, I had no idea that those sick, torturous elements still echoed throughout the ceremonies, even though they were a little harder to spot. It was a faint reminder of the Masonic-inspired fanatical nonsense that was once a core part of the ritual. Sure, they cleaned it up a little bit for public consumption, but the underlying underlying mentality of control and fear is still there. The church can try to distance itself from the past, but the ghost of these cult-like practices continues to haunt modern Mormon temples.
That did sound pretty fucked up.
Sounds right. The Freemasons and the Illuminati.
Just being like for a point for Freemason, it's not often that someone from the world's most secret society offers you a meeting. So we're gonna go have a chat, see what's what, ask him some questions, and see what he thinks of the place. Are there secret handshakes?
Oh yes.
Can you teach us, or are they too secret?
Well, there are, but it's not as sinister or as spooky as you might think. The main thing is that the secret handshakes, and there are passwords and signs, salutes, if you like, but that all goes back when people didn't have certificates to prove their qualifications. You needed to be able to signify that to your potential employers.
So the ceremony itself is something that's gone on for, we don't know, over 300 years.
1717, it kind of began.
As far as we know. And this is a one-act play, 30, 40 minutes, something like that, that's been handed down verbally, generation to generation to generation.
From a conspiracy point of view, you know, people say Freemasons rule the world and it's the most secret society ever. From what you experience, it is a social club and it's nothing sinister, it's just a very normal group of people doing normal things.
I wish there was a conspiracy. I wish there was a way that I could get myself. I'm looking for a job at the moment. If anybody can help me get a job, or £1 million, or put me up with something, it'd be grand. But unfortunately, you pay your money, and it's a social club.
Yeah, I mean, it's true that over the years, I mean, Kevin was talking about the founding fathers. I mean, so many of the American presidents have been Freemasons, and the people who founded America. And so, if you want, you could take that spin on it. They're a member of the royal family. But in terms of a conspiracy whereby they're all plotting to do something, absolutely not.
It seems pretty normal.
The first degree Masons, bro. They don't tell them nothing.
Anybody familiar with the compasses and square symbol of Freemasonry? With the G in the middle? That's what the G stands for at the highest level. They'll talk about many porch masons. These are the exoteric masons that are given the teachings of the profane and they think they're in the know, okay? They're given the information, well, this only means geometry, it only means God, etc., okay? One of the things they'll tell you it means at a slightly higher level is that it means gnosis, knowledge. At a higher level, at illuminated levels of Freemasonry, which are above 32nd degree, they will give you what the real meaning of the G inside the compasses and square is, and it is the generative principle. It means genesis, creation.
Freemasons rule the world, bro. We'll have to save that for next time.
Hold up, tell me what I did a giveaway.
Leave a comment for a chance to win in our next episode. Let's do this, bro.
Bang bang!
Bang bang.
Pick something from our website and we'll send it straight out.
Let's tales.com. Shout out everyone buying the merch, bro.
Yeah, and a big thanks to all our channel members.
Discord, bro. We got movie nights, game nights. It's great, bro.
And as always, thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one.
This is a scientific fact. Through these cracks in the Earth's tectonic plates, the magnetic energies released are very powerful indeed. Many people have claimed to have felt the urge surge up their body. and some have claimed that they have blacked out, as the surge was that powerful. How long have human beings known about ley lines? Our ancestors have known about these ley lines for thousands of years. Every race and culture on this planet has known about these lines, yet everyone had different names for these lines. All we need to do is look at the ancient cultures of Earth. Take the native Indians of the United States. They used to call ley lines spirit lines, and their shamans used to use the electromagnetic energy from these lines to help them contact the spirits. They even designed their medicine wheel on the spirit lines, as they knew these lines followed a straight round line. How did they know about these lines and energies that they give off? The answer is simple. The sky gods told them. In Europe, we were led to believe that the Druids called them mystical lines. In Wales, they use the same name in Eastern countries. They call them dragon lines. We know that Eastern countries called them dragon lines, as the sky gods flew in dragons along these lines. The Aboriginal people of Australia call these lines lines. And once again, they claim that this knowledge was passed on to them from the sky gods.
Although they call them dragon lines in Wales.
Around planet Earth there is an extremely potent geomagnetic grid that can be used to harness the boundless telluric electricity from the atmosphere and from below the surface of the ground. Going back to as early as the Stone Age, the Neolithic tribes were fully aware of these locations and potency of them. This is why such massive stone circles were built. With such geomagnetic capacitors, tribes could harness the telluric electricity. But during the last 75 years, these precious sites seem to have been forgotten or become disused. They have become inverted to the spiritual use of these electrical potent landscapes.
Well, it's just a coincidence that some of these places lie.
I'll tell you that from Israel to Ireland, a line exists that marks monasteries and other places of worship dedicated to the Archangel Michael. What if we were to tell you that this represents a straight line, the path of the ancient sun? Wait till you hear this. What else to mark out landmark structures in a straight line right across Europe, the Middle East? A celestial object once took this path, and for that reason, Earthlings living in that path would erect these structures in such a way that it came directly in the path of worship. But St. Michael is the assimilated figure of the god Mirtha, and in the Zoroastrian faith, it was Mirtha whom was like the god Ahura Mazda. And Mirtha, or St. Michael as he was known as in the Christian tradition, appeared next to the Taurus field. He is one of the two who placed the great figure in the sky.
That's weird. But loads of places are named after St. Michael.
It's not a coincidence, right?
Throughout history, all the megalithic structures have been strategically built on top of these so-called lines, from the pyramids of Giza to Stonehenge, Notre Dame, Solomon's Temple, Parthenon, Oracle of Delphi, Rennes-le-Château, Ziggurat, the Vatican, DC Capitol, Mecca, Hagia Sophia, Aztec Pyramids, Bermuda Triangle, Coral Castle, Tesla's lab in Shoreham, New York, including all nuclear power plants, military bases, and stadiums, which are also used to harness energies, like giant batteries.
All of them are on ley lines.
The Da Vinci Code was based on Rennes-le-Château in France, which is also on a ley line. It is documented that Alexander the Great was guided by Aristotle to take control of the major dome centers of these intersecting ley lines from dark forces, which is why he put his top general, Ptolemy, to rule Egypt. Interestingly, Cleopatra, the last pharaoh, alongside with both her husbands, Julius Caesar and Mark Antony of Rome, were defeated by the Romans, where they eventually destroyed the biggest library in Alexandria, Egypt, before taking all the knowledge with them, sending us into the Dark Ages. During the medieval times, anyone who had any knowledge of Hermetics was designated a heretic and died a horrible death. This held true for whoever knew how to read or write the heresy, leaving only the royals and the monasteries literate.
It's sad to think how much of human history has been wiped out.
It was on the 30th of June 1921 the famous Englishman who was a member of the Royal Photographic Society of Great Britain made a remarkable discovery, because Alfred Watkins had become a self-taught archaeologist. He noticed that sites from the Neolithic age in the United Kingdom all fell into an exact alignment. Both man-made and natural-looking monuments could be connected by exactly straight pathways. Alfred Watkins described these routes as ley lines and opened up the electromagnetic parameters of supernatural and spiritual beliefs. Alfred Watkins wrote 3 very important books which he confirmed that geomagnetic ley lines resonate in exact alignments across the United Kingdom of Great Britain. In the book The Old Straight Track, its mounds, beacons, moats, sites and milestones, Alfred Watkins argued that geomagnetic ley lines represented trading routes of the antediluvian period and the Neolithic age, which the communities of the British Isles regularly used. The straight lines allowed the Neolithic tribes and Celtic Britons to travel from a single location to another as quickly as possible.
It's an interesting theory.
William Stukeley was back in the 1700s and he worked around Stonehenge and Avebury, so he discovered the whole kind of mechanics to Stonehenge and Avebury, and obviously Watkins had looked at his work and taken some of his work. Stukeley noted how many Roman roads, which you know about the Roman history, it's pretty dark when the Romans entered Britain, how they just destructed all these kind of energetic points. But Stukeley noted that how many Roman roads were constructed along these ancient ley lines. So all these ancient ley lines were all mapped out. In recent years, you had obviously Jean-Michel, who wrote the amazing book The View Over Atlantis, but he was an author, an esotericist, and he made a huge amount of contributions to the whole kind of Earth mystery idea. But the ley lines are very important for our well-being, and they're very important that when we go along these lines, as I said before, we reactivate information, we find information and knowledge, and remember what's bringing up the present day is all these distortions and inversions have led from this point, because the history we've been taught is only half-truths. It's not the real full truth of what we are. And this is important that we remember it and understand that we can remember this information. By remembering, we will reactivate certain energies in our body.
Well, it seems like they knew something we don't.
The spiritual development of the Celtic Britons was entirely linked with sites like Stonehenge and Avebury Circle. Other essential sites were the Rollright Stones in Oxfordshire, Michel's Fold in southwestern Shropshire, and Castlerig Stone Circle that is located nearby to Keswick in west central Cumbria. Each of the Irish and British Druids were fully aware of how subterranean waterways flow beneath the ley lines, and the telluric currents were always potent in specific expanses of the sceptred isle that was once called Albion, then Britain. Perhaps it was the case that this kind of advanced technology came from the civilization of the Atlantean continent and the Atlantean islands, and was covertly brought into the British Isles during the antediluvian period, or the Upper Paleolithic, where the usage of this technology was studied.
This is starting to sound like a fairy tale.
Why did our ancestors choose specific types of stones for these structures? The answer may lie in the rocks themselves. Many megaliths are rich in quartz and magnetite, materials known for their electromagnetic properties. These stones can generate electricity when subjected to pressure or vibrations, a phenomenon known as the piezoelectric effect. Even more intriguing is the fact that many megalithic sites feature stones that were quarried from sites many miles away, indicating that the ancient megalithic builders went to great lengths to obtain precisely the right kind of stones for their structures. Picture a megalith as a giant natural battery, constantly charging and discharging in rhythm with the Earth's energetic pulse. This image isn't far from the findings of Pierre Moreau, a 19th century electrical engineer who studied the megalithic sites at Karnak in France.
Fuck if I know.
Karnak, a case study in stone power. Moreau's work at Karnak revealed some startling insights. Despite being a skeptic who did not ascribe to the New Age spiritual philosophies popular in his day, Moreau's scientific investigations led to unexpected conclusions. He analyzed the voltage and magnetic variations of the megalithic stones at Karnak and found them to be associated with electrical induction. Moreau's findings include the following. The stones emitted energy in concentric circles like ripples in a pond. They seem to recharge approximately every 7 minutes, suggesting a cyclical energy pattern. Different structures serve different energetic purposes. Dolmens function like electrical coils, while stone circles behave like electrical condensers. The stones produced a pulsing energetic field that carried both negative and positive charges. Moreau's readings of the stones were most powerful at dawn. The quartz found in these stones made them especially suitable for generating these very currents. Interestingly, the ancient builders deliberately chose to quarry the quartz-containing stones at Karnak from a site 60 miles away. Could our ancestors have possessed a sophisticated grasp of electromagnetic phenomena that we're only now beginning to rediscover?
Crazy we don't know why they stuck so many stones in the ground.
It could have been acupuncture, right?
Earth acupuncture, healing the planet. Freddie Silva, in his book Portals, Energetic Doorways to Mystical Experiences Between Worlds, proposes an intriguing theory that megalithic sites function as a form of earth acupuncture. Silva suggests that ancient structures were strategically positioned to amplify and direct the Earth's magnetic field, similar to how acupuncture needles balance the body's energy. Silva believes this ancient megalithic practice served as a kind of earth acupuncture that naturally amplified the local magnetic field in order to interface with the energies of earth and sky. This theory suggests that our ancestors were not just building monuments, but creating a network of energetic hotspots across the landscape.
You're telling me, right? They had electricity.
But what were they doing with it?
The unique Great Circle at Stonehenge is also situated above several meandering fault lines which encircle the monument. The renowned English polymath and broadcaster called Paul Devereux points out that fault lines are intimately associated with earth lights, unknown luminescent balls of telluric electricity which for reasons unknown appeared in close proximity to them. Paul Devereux is a co-founder and the managing editor of the academic publication Time and Mind, the Journal of Archaeology, Consciousness and Culture, and a research fellow with the International Consciousness Research Laboratories at Princeton University in the United States. Earthlights have been witnessed at Stonehenge on Salisbury Plain in southeastern Wiltshire, and if they closely followed the fault lines, the effect would have been spectacular as the earthlights would encircle Stonehenge. This is like the megalithic sites were
Toch liggen, joh, kanker. Ga toch liggen, man, joh, kankerlaaien! Fuck! Jezus, man, ga toch kanker dood, jongen! Kanker!
Although not discussed in the mainstream, it was the Chaldean giants that actually constructed Stonehenge and the Neolithic tribes. They were obsessed with subterranean electrical waterways such waterways emitted. It is a well-known fact that subterranean waterways are an excellent conductor of telluric electricity. Humans were not fully aware of subterranean waterways and intentionally built upon the geomagnetic load to create potent dimensional portals into the 4D holographic reality of the astral plane.
Yeah, you're listening a bit there.
Ball is one of these, and there are two balls which create this three-dimensional multidimensional energy path. It is a universal organ in which all energy and matter are manifested in shape configurations in which all the energy is at a continuous state. This is not an atom. This is the real atom, an electromagnetic field, universal or field of energy, and your brain is decoding this energy into a reality that you can interact with. Whatever your mind and emotions project into the energy is creating your reality. Central axis is called the hypodermic. This is where energy comes in and then out. This is the inhale and exhale of the universe, breathing, day and night, life and death. That's why your nose is a hyperboloid. Yahweh is the inhale, Yah, and exhale is way. Yahweh. You can hear this if you can hear the nostril. Physical is phi cycle. Phi is a torus field. We live in a cycle of a torus field. And you have an anatomy that is your atom, and the binary code 0 and 1 comes from the torus
Subterranean waterways that are excellent conductors of telluric electricity are found at Stonehenge, and a map was produced by the master downer Guy Irwin Underwood, where the subterranean waterways are located in the United Kingdom of Great Britain. There will be a piezoelectric current which then accumulates until the current becomes telluric electricity and forms a geomagnetic concentration. In such locations across Dorset, Wiltshire, Somerset and Gloucestershire,